Look, it's just absolutely amazing. We get to open the pages of the Holy Scriptures today to a chapter that many people don't see. We're looking at the scroll written 2,150 years ago, hidden in that cave in Qumran, and it's found in the Bible, Daniel chapter 11. To kick it off, we've got Sarah Jane Bishop with us. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
And the leg's still going on?
Yeah, the leg's still broken.
It needs a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, change would be good.
Are you enjoying the change?
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, okay, well, tell us about Daniel. Where are we today?
So he's still over 80 years old, obviously. He's risen to be one of the most powerful and wealthiest men in ancient Iraq and then ancient Iran. His city of Jerusalem still lies in ruins. But then an angel appears to him, and this angel's telling him all the trouble that's going to happen on the earth for thousands of years. But the key point, God is still in control.
Okay, so no matter what?
No matter what, God is still in control. And when we look back and we look at the significance of prediction, is allowing us today to know that God's in control. And we'll actually look at a verse here found in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. It says, "We also have the prophetic message as something completely reliable, and you will do well to pay attention to it, as to a light shining in a dark place until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts."
Okay.
It's amazing. God's still in control. We can look back, we can test predictions and look back and see how God is in control.
Okay, because that's what prophecy is. Prophecy is nothing more than Doctor Who time travelling written down in advance. You can test it for yourself. But what did the angel speak to Daniel about in Daniel chapter 11?
I've never heard it called Doctor Who time travelling before, James. That's a good one. The angel said, well, in the first 4 verses, it's really clear. He says there's 4 more kings of ancient Iran, which is Persia. And the 4th one will be the richest king, and he's going to go and attack Greece, but he's going to lose. And then as we look back in history, that's exactly what happened. So it's pretty amazing, to say the least. So history records, and you've all heard about it, rich King Xerxes came down and he attacked the king... what was his name?
Yeah, Alexander the Great of Greece.
Alexander the Great.
That's right.
And Alexander the Great beat him. Bad idea. And so Alexander wiped him out. And in fact, Alexander the Great went on to make Greece the world empire at the time. That broke up into 4 kingdoms because Alexander the Great conquered the whole world, didn't know what else to do with his time, got drunk and died, and his 4 best generals took over Greece and broke it up. Now, every time those 4 different areas fought with each other, God's people, the Israelites, got caught up in the bloodshed and it wasn't so good for them.
Oh, man. But God knew what was going to happen. In fact, the predictions we're reading now are so clear and verifiable, most scholars believe this must have been written after it happened. And that's okay, we're relaxed with that, but what did the angel keep on saying?
So the angel's talking about the divisions that's happened amongst the Greeks, and then up to about verse 15, they're talking about the details of these battles and how they're all fighting to have control over the ancient world in Israel.
Yeah, one of those fights was the great love fight.
Oh, yeah.
Between
Love's
Berenice
always
and Laodice.
in there somewhere. Yep, for sure. But then another empire from the north starts to rise up. And we'll read about this in Daniel chapter 11, verse 16. It says, "The invader will do as he pleases. No one will be able to stand against him. He will establish himself in the beautiful land and will have power to destroy it." So we've got the Roman Empire here. The Roman Empire is very strong. It will conquer Israel and eventually destroy it. And Rome destroyed the city of Jerusalem in 70 AD, and even today there has been no temple rebuilt in Jerusalem.
Now, this is as clear as crystal. The Greeks, Alexander the Great, never demolished, destroyed Jerusalem. It was the Roman Empire that did so, and here we see Rome coming up on the scene. But it was the Romans that were in power when Jesus...
Absolutely, they were. And in fact, it was Tiberius Caesar who was in control. And then there's this absolutely fascinating verse right there, which identifies that we're actually really down to the time of Christ himself. It's verse 22 of Daniel 11. "With the force of a flood, they shall be swept away from before him and be broken. And also..." Here's the key point, the Prince of the Covenant. So here, it is really focusing in, that right there, the one who's been longed for since the beginning of the world, the one that Adam and Eve longed for to restore their sins, to take away their sin, the Messiah, the Prince of the Covenant would come. And so here he is, the Prince of the Covenant, arrives just in the nick of time. and deals with all the problems. It's an amazing predictive prophecy.
Yeah, of course, many people think that it was the Jews that killed Jesus, but what does God say?
Well, it wasn't the Jews at all, because right here it actually identifies that, you know, who was the one who was actually in control? Well, it was, you know, you got Tiberius Caesar, his daughter.
He's Italian?
Is Italian, married to Pilate, who's Italian.
So that was Tiberius' daughter?
Yep, and then they set up there in Jerusalem, they get their Italian soldiers in, and they're the ones, and she actually the night before gets this incredible dream taking place. And the dream says, hey, don't mess with this Jesus guy. And Pilate ignores that and gives the order to have him crucified. The Roman soldiers take him away and they crucify him. And so it wasn't the Jews at all. It was actually the Italian Roman soldiers.
Ah, and I think Tiberius' daughter,
yeah,
the daughter of the emperor,
was
spoken to by the God of the Bible, and it's recorded in the New Testament.
That's exactly right.
Hey, there's more good news, isn't there?
Well, there is. That good news goes on. In fact, it really doesn't finish there. You know, the good news goes on, and the good news is for all of us, because what God really wants is for all of us to actually accept His Son.